Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If we can all stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And are we all set with roll call?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. Board President Petruno is unable to be here tonight due to the passing of her mother and the funeral being today. So on behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to send our condolences to her and her family. Also, Vice President Marie is unable to be here tonight, so I'm stepping in to run the meeting this evening. So before we start, I just want to acknowledge that there was a tenure reception before our meeting to acknowledge 29 district employees that have been granted tenure in our district. On behalf of the board, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate each and every one of them on their commitment and dedication to our students in our district. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our students in our district. Congratulations. Resolved that the Board of Education approve the agenda for the April 24th, 2023 regular Board of Education meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Tanya first, second Shelley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next up on the agenda, we have the Board of Education Spotlight. Dr. Davis will take this portion of the meeting with Dr. DeBarbery after.
Thank you, Mrs. Falso. I would like to personally congratulate our girls bowling team who won the Division I state championship at Strike and Spare Lanes on March 10th. This is an amazing accomplishment. We are so proud of our students that are here tonight, and we're hoping they're all here. And what a great honor for the district and a great honor for our students. And these students are great role models for all of our students here in the district. And I can't tell you enough how proud we are. Tonight, what we'd like to do is recognize you. If you could come up when we call your name and stay up here, because we'd like a team picture. And I am going to ask Board Member Davison to help with Dr. DeBarbery. And then I will be taking photos with Ms. Vile. And we'll get photos up on the website and get that out to our community. So.
All right, so the first athlete we have is Layla Trendowski. Next, we have Julia Speech. Following Julia, we have Jenna Speech. Our next athlete, Elizabeth Hildreth. Next we have Samantha Haas. And the last, certainly not the least, Madison Haas. Is Coach here? No? as Dr. Davis mentioned, we can't be more proud of what these wonderful athletes did on March 10th. Certainly bring great recognition to our district, so thank you again.
Great.
Yeah, girl.
Did you bring your banner? No? I'll come up to the high school and get a banner picture. I want to thank the parents for taking the students to and from practices and going to games and being the best cheerleaders ever. So without you, we wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you to the parents. We really appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. Such a great accomplishment. There is food next door if you guys would like to go over and have some treats. Or you can stay and listen to our meeting. Your choice. All right, we're moving on to the next portion of the meeting, the Correspondence Board Activities Committee reports. On Thursday, April 13th, we had a building visit at Durkee Junior High. Would anybody like to share who attended?
I had the opportunity to attend that tour and that visit with TJ and other board members and Dr. Barbary. Once again, it was great. We got to see some kids in classes. We saw a really great class in session. I believe it was social studies, and also a tech class at the very end. And in that class, it was interesting because they were finishing up their 10-week period for that class, so we got to see their end product or project that they were working on. The other highlight for me was we were able to see they have an outdoor classroom at Durkee that's utilized. Yeah, there was actually a classroom coming out to utilize that space out in the grass area behind Durkee and kind of by the football field. So it was great to see that space being used, teachers and students utilizing it. The only thing I did want to follow up was there's a chalkboard out there, which is fabulous, but there's no chalk. So we got to make sure that they have chalk to be able to utilize that. But what a great opportunity for the kids in classes and teachers to be able to utilize that space and just to get out as a refresher. So there was talk about possibly another space being added for an outdoor classroom at some point. Just great, thinking outside the box and getting kids engaged outside and learning as well. So it was a great tour, as always.
Thank you to Mr. Frere and his staff and for all the students that engaged with us. It was great seeing the tech projects. The kids were so engaged and let us kind of play around with what they were doing, and it was really fun to watch.
Thank you. On April 13th, we also had the OCM BOCES annual meeting. Anybody attend who's with us tonight?
Dr. DeBarbary and Matt and myself and Joan Reeves were there, and I just a shout out to Dr. Cook and his amazing staff and the students. They did a great job presenting, and we met one of our students that was in the culinary program. I do have flyers if anybody wants to see it. It was a great experience hearing about the the budget process, and just for me, being a new board member, learning what they go through to build their budget. So thank you to Dr. Cook and his staff.
The only thing I was going to add is that, you know, the student that was a part of the CTE program, the culinary arts, the food was outstanding. I mean, it was the highlight of the evening. I mean, really, really good. And the desserts were even better. And they did it all. And so it was great to see that recognition from our student.
Thank you. On April 17th, we had a special Board of Education meeting where we initially scheduled to vote on the BOCES administrative budget. We also took action on tenure and other capital project items. On Tuesday, April 18th, we had a Board of Education retreat. We met with NISBA attorney to learn more about areas pertaining to legal and assistance they offer boards in the area of communication. And then before this board meeting this evening, we had a policy committee meeting. Does anybody want to report back on that?
I'll start with the first policy, 3410, the Code of Conduct on School Property. We are going to, we made a couple changes and additions, and we're going to move forward for first and second read, which will be on May 8th.
Just to add to that particular policy, there was discussion among the committee and with Dr. DeBarbary and Ms. Vile and Dr. Davis about adding language or exploring language regarding bullying, specifically to not only physical safety but also psychological safety. So there was a conversation regarding that. There was also communication about ensuring that access to the Code of Conduct was available in additional languages other than English for families who would prefer another language. And Dr. DeBarbary spoke about additional tools that the district is exploring to provide that level of language access with the use of Parent Square, which is potentially being considered to replace School Messenger. We also talked about, and I'm just going to add to what Ms. Shraven had mentioned, we also reviewed policy number 3411, unlawful possession of a weapon upon grounds. Based on the feedback and conversation we had with the committee, it was decided to retire that particular policy, as this policy is already reflected in two other policies within our policies, 3410 and 7360. Did you want to continue, either Sam or Shelley? Okay. We also talked about policy 3412, threats of violence in school, the decision of the committee along with Dr. DeBarbary and Dr. Davis, to also retire this particular regulation, or this particular policy. The discussion centered on actually the items or language within the policy is really more reflective of regulations and should be considered to be made an administrative regulations because it shows or outlines the process and procedure in terms of reporting in the event a threat of violence is made in the district. So there was recommendations from Dr. Davis during reorganization in July to explore this particular regulation, review the policy, and consider creating additional resources and tools to show the procedure, whether it be visual through some type of flow chart or some other format that would be easy, accessible for all. And then finally, the two we didn't get to was 3420 and 3421, and that has been at least tabled until the next session on May 1st. Did I cover everything?
I think I just wanted to reiterate, we talked about, Dr. Davis had brought up, we have our policy and our regulations, and some of those policies are being retired. But right now, the district will work going forward in making sure that the regulation, not sure if it's embedded, but attached to the policy, so that when administration board members are reviewing policy and regulation, they're all in the same spot. And that'll be a work in progress, and we appreciate that because that'll be very helpful to those of us on the policy committee and those of us who have to review those policies and regulations. So thank you for that recommendation and moving that forward.
Thank you so much. This evening, we also had our public hearing, Smart Schools, prior to our board meeting. Dr. Davis is going to share some information on that.
So we were able to, at prior meetings, we were able to board approve a preliminary resolution for the Smart Schools Bond Act. We posted our legal notice, and tonight is the hearing. We've had our PowerPoint on the website so that there could be community feedback. We sent out a survey through Thought Exchange to take that input, and the committee worked to review the input and to determine how we were going to spend phase 3 of our funding. And we are focusing on safety. We are going to be focusing on cameras and upgrading our surveillance cameras. The second area was the film, the protective film on the windows, the bulletproof film. And the third is our detection systems. We have a sample of one right now on the floor here. So it's another layer of protection. So these funds are not budget items. These are funds from a bond act that the state of New York in 2014 awarded districts to spend on various things. And one of the things was the safety and, for schools to use for safety, or they could use them for technology. There's a whole list of items, categories, there's 6 to be exact, that school districts can determine needs within those 6 categories. So again, this is not part of our budget. These are funds that are there for the district and awarded to the district that we have to apply for. After tonight's meeting, there'll be a resolution, and once the resolution gets approved, then tomorrow we'll be able to apply for the funds through the State Education Department portal. And once our application is approved, then we can move forward on our purchase plan. If there's any changes to the plan, we must come back to the full committee and make those appropriate changes and amendments through committee advisory only.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other events that they've attended that they want to share?
I attended the Baldwinsville Community Hall of Fame for the Visual and Performing Arts on Thursday. It was a great ceremony. It was really cool to see the success of people that have come through our district and just their reverence for the education and the impact that the education that they had here and the teachers had on them and helped them into going into their field. There was also performances by some of our musical groups. I think the orchestra and then the chorus group also performed at the event. It was really nice to see people look back on their careers and what they've done, and it was kind of an emotional night. It was really nice.
Just to add that we can't thank enough the foundation that put together Carol Jacoby is president and board of directors, Todd Hoban, Nancy Rowe, Sally Dager, Sandy Baker, Chris Denton, Jim Goulet, Muffet Hercula, William Mercer Jr., Karen Malarney, and Mary Tall. So they really have done an outstanding job pulling those efforts forward, and we look forward to many, many years of recognizing our students in the visual and performing arts. So
The plaques are hung up down by in the music wing if you wanted to go see them, so it was great.
Thank you. We have many events coming up. There are 2 that I wanted to highlight this evening. We have a Meet the Candidates night along with our public budget hearing on Monday, May 8th at 6 o'clock here at the Transportation Center. We also have our public budget and school board elections on May 16th, and that's going to be from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Operations Building. All right, we'll move on to the student board report. Azan, we're very excited to have you here tonight.
I feel like I kind of start most of them this way, but there's kind of a lot on this, just because it's kind of like the closing time of year, I guess. I'm going to do Baker last, just because, okay, so starting at McNamara, they're doing great little field trips for the next few weeks. Students are heading to places like Beaver Lake, Wonderwoods, and Illinois. I went to McNamara, so a lot of these events like ring bells to me, but they're doing a slide ceremony, field days, picnic day, and then moving up ceremony. I don't know, I remember doing all of them just because it's a little bit more fun than AP exams, like standing out in the back parking lot of McNamara in like just like the summer events sort of kind of things. Eldon is kind of doing similar things in that they also have their assessments going on for their New York State ELA assessments. And then all of the elementary schools did Earth Day cleanups. I remember Mr. Coughlin emailed me the last meeting saying that they were going to go out early this year because Baker always gets all the trash on the campus, and they wanted to get it this year, and they did. They went out before we did and got almost all of it off the campus. Moving to Dirty, Mr. Ferrier says there was an academic achievement ceremony. There was 33 students who improved their overall average by 4 points or more. And that kind of goes along. I've been reporting, I think, at almost every meeting about like their honor roll in total. I don't know, I think that's pretty impressive. 4 points at this point in the year shows dedication. Palmer did a similar thing where they did a cleanup, but they also have been they've been celebrating positive character traits. So on Fridays, there's a group of students that I guess are treated to lunch from Sal's. They also recently had Dan the Magic Man, who came to school in for card tricks and the like. They have an art showcase and a strings and a quarter concert, as well as an ice cream social coming up. So again, just more elementary end of the year things. Van Buren did something somewhat similar, where they had a STEM fair which was aided by SU College students. The students had projects that included things like dominoes, petri dishes, lemon juice, I don't know where that fits in, and then Peeps. They also raised $500 to the Able Memorial Scholarship. Baker had something, I forget the exact number that we raised. I know it was high though, so there was a lot of recognition for that, which I think is a good cause. Ray also did an Earth Day cleanup, and I guess they collected 7 bags of trash, which is concerning, but I mean, at least it's not there anymore. Reynolds has like a lot. I've said this before, I feel like if I was like given the choice to go back to elementary school, Reynolds would be where I would go. I'm just gonna pick out a few. So one of the things on here is over the last 2 months, they've been doing, like in the cafeteria, they've been rewarded for good behavior. So I guess when students are found like behaving well in the cafeteria, they are given a ticket, and then at the end of the 2 months, there's tickets that are drawn from each grade level, and then those students get a pizza party. There were pictures that were sent. The kids looked like they were happy. So, yeah. They also celebrated Youth Art Month, and every day, I think it's every day, the students participated in art activities, and I guess the favorite day was Bob Ross Day. There were 506 works of art displayed in total, which for an elementary school is a lot. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff. I don't know. And then moving back up to Baker, as you all know, AP exams are starting, and I guess just like, there's not really much of a positive about it. I mean, they're pretty stressful. Like the next 3 weeks are kind of like the beginning of the end, but I don't know, it kind of sucks. Like there's a lot of them, but it's okay. 3 weeks and then most of us are done. So something to look forward to. Our art showcase begins on the 25th of May, I think. They started setting it up. Baker and the district as a whole always has good art, so it's already been pretty exciting to see all the stuff out there. Mrs. Burnett would know better than I do, but the Seal of Biliteracy just concluded yesterday.
Well,
The
worldwide
other language, yeah,
part
sure.
of it.
So not the English part of it, but French and Spanish concluded yesterday. From what I heard, Beeville did outstandingly well, so yeah.
we did it.
I guess we look forward to hearing how they all actually did some point soon. But they all said they did well. All the kids came back, and today in Spanish we were talking about it, and they all seemed super happy with the way they presented. And yeah. We also, I don't know if it's titled Mental Health Month, but Wellness Month, I guess, in May is coming up, and I know there's a ton of stuff that our administration at Baker planned, including a wellness day, and Mrs. Strickning showed me the calendar. There's stuff all over it, so that'll be exciting. And then, not necessarily as a school thing, more personal anecdote, I was talking to a few of you when I came in, and had the opportunity to visit Greece, and I just thought that it would be interesting, or not interesting, but I like thinking about other cultures and the way that other people do things, and I've talked a bit this year about this idea of just spreading love and compassion, and I just wanted to share that it was pretty cool to see that, you know, even in different countries, the way that we all do celebrate one another as individuals and cultures as a whole, just that even if you're 6,000 miles, not more than 6,000, but a few thousand miles away in a different country, still that idea of culture and celebrating not only our differences, but those things that bring us together. So, yeah, lots of fun things happening, and if few weeks, I look forward to being less, stressed.
Culture. Not to spoiler alert, but I believe there's a culture event in May too, so that's nice. It kind of all ties in together. That's awesome.
Azan, thank you so much for highlighting all the positives in our district, and thank you again for promoting your message of culture, compassion, and love. I appreciate it. All right, Kim, are there any speakers tonight? All right, next up is a consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Brian first. Second. Shelley. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Excuse me. Next on the agenda is the reports section. And we're going to begin with Dr. Davis and the leadership report. And then we have a first reading by Dr. DeBarbery.
Tonight we're going to be reviewing the technology report. We were tonight going to go over our scores and our status with the state, but it's still embargoed. So unfortunately, RJ is not doing well tonight, he's sick. So Dr. DeBarbery is going to present the technology report.
This will actually be quite quick. The information was provided in the system on board docs. RJ wanted me to highlight the fact that, when you look at the hardware and software in his report, there's been a lot of upgrades over the course of this school year, and we've been very fortunate enough to utilize the SRSA and the American Rescue Plan Act funding in order to make some of these upgrades available to our students. Certainly the technology committee has been having these discussions over the course of the last few years, but he's very happy with the progress that the department has made and the use of the federal funding for hardware and software. The other area that he asked that I highlight is the audit. So the audit committee, one of the areas that was identified was to do a pretty extensive technology audit. And from what we've heard unofficially from the audit firm is that we've done very well in the systems and the procedures that we have in place to protect students, to protect our resources, to protect our system. They're going to be coming forward with the finalized report, which the audit committee will receive here shortly, and once that happens, the board will have a full discussion based on the report from the audit firm. But from the unofficial information that we have from the auditors, we are in a good place. There's certainly areas, but given the extensiveness of what their review was, we are pretty confident in where we stand currently as a district. The next section focused on technology support. So you see the number of actions. We're very thankful for the outstanding technology support that we have with our land techs and our help desk operator. Given the number of devices that we have across the district with student use, it's a miracle that we're able to get the service that we have when things happen unexpectedly. So can't thank Linda Moringer, who runs the help desk out of Ray Middle School, enough for all of her efforts, as well as our land techs who are really managing all of our devices. In the area of professional development, you'll see the variety of PD that was offered to our staff across the district and the support that was provided. We've done a lot with Google Classroom, the Screencastify, Seesaw, Edpuzzle. There's been a lot of work around EdLaw 2D for our entire staff. As you know, that's one of the mandated trainings that we have to do each year, and so certainly there's been updates out of the technology department to make sure that we're EdLaw 2D compliant. There's been a lot of coaching regarding the app systems that we have, and training on the new Clear Touch boards that have been implemented thanks to that federal funding. RJ also chose to highlight some of the work that he does with outside committees. He's a part of the SLS, that's the School Library Systems Council. He's a Customer Service Advisory Committee member for the OC and BOCES CNY Technology Planning Group, and involved in data protection and security. Last but not least, regarding the Technology Planning Committee, we met twice this year to provide checkups toward their goals. Their 3 goals are listed on this slide: providing students with technology options that address students' pace and learning style, increasing the accessibility of the internet capable devices to all students, and providing training and support so that technology is used to enhance learning and provide students with that real-world technology exposure. RJ did mention that if there were specific questions the board had that I can't answer, he will be happy to provide an update in the weekly letter if there's additional questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. DeBari. We have an amazing technology department, and RJ's leadership over the years has helped us through COVID successfully, and it's unbelievable. We're in testing season now, so this is their busy time with all the online testing, so a special thank you on behalf of the district to their whole team.
So if there are no questions, then the next report that we have listed is a first reading for the girls varsity crew team to travel to Tennessee for the Scholastic Rowing Championships. This is a routine, typical trip that our student athletes attend, and this will be on for final reading and approval at the May 8th meeting. Are there questions regarding this trip? We officially wish our rowers well.
Right, next portion of the meeting is new business. Item A, resolve that the Board of Education approve the resolution approving final Smart Schools investment plan pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please? Sam first, second. Wayne? Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item B, resolve that the Board of Education approve the textbook adoption of America's History by Rebecca Edwards, Eric Hinderraker, Robert Self, James Henretta for grade 11 AP American History classes pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please? Shelley first. Second, Wayne. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item C, resolve that the Board of Education approve the girls' crew team to travel and participate in the New York State Scholastic Rowing Championships, May 13th through 14th, 2023 at the Saratoga Rowing Association in Saratoga Springs, New York, pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Shelley first. Second, Wayne. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item D, resolve that the Board of Education approve the boys outdoor track and field team to travel and participate in the Penn Relays April 27th through 28th, 2023 at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please? Wayne first.
Second.
Second, Shelley. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item E, resolve that the Board of Education authorize participation in City BOCES water testing RFP per the attached resolution. Can I have a motion, please? Wayne first. Second, Sam. Any questions or discussion?
I have one question. Just a curiosity question, since we fall under Onondaga County BOCES, but this is participating in Oswego County BOCES. What's the connection, or does Onondaga County BOCES, or Onondaga BOCES not have this program?
Kim, why don't you take that?
Thank you.
So this is actually, our BOCES is working with the city BOCES for this RFP process. So it's for both counties. Our OCM BOCES is the one that recommended it to us.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item F, resolved that the Board of Education reject the February 21st, 2023 Public Library Chiller Replacement Capital Project bids for the attached recommendation. Can I have a motion, please? Sam first, second. Wayne? Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item G. Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education authorize expenditure for trial-ready appraisal reports for Village Green EB LLC versus the Town of Van Buren ABC LLC versus the Town of Lysander pursuant to the attached. And this will be a roll call vote. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Shelley first, second. Wayne? Any questions or discussion?
Wayne Davison,
Yes.
Denise Balso.
Yes.
Michelle Gecko,
Yes.
Tanya Rosado Berenger,
Yes.
Sherry Schrader.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Item H, resolve that the Board of Education approve the OCM BOCES lease agreement pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Wayne first. Sam? Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item I, resolve that the Board of Education approve the Health and Welfare Services Agreement and costs for Lancaster Central School District pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Wayne first, second. Shelley? Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item J, resolved that the Board of Education approve the disposal of surplus equipment and instructional materials pursuant to the attached. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Wayne first, second. Sam? Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you, that was a long business. Okay. All right, next up is board roundtable. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about tonight?
I just have a quick observation. I was able to attend some of the budget presentations done by our district staff at various community groups and town offices. Many great questions were asked about the budget and the capital project, and I just really think it was great to have that community connection and for our district to reach out and get the input from our community members on the budget. So it was really a great presentation and great conversations that were had.
I wanted to bring up social media tonight just to kind of start a conversation. We have different social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and I noticed that when our district page announced our board candidates who are running for a seat. There were some comments on there. And I know we have a comment policy. So I just kind of wanted to ask board colleagues and district office personnel, what is our process for who is monitoring those comments? Because sometimes those comments are not so friendly towards community members. And do we have a process, and if so, what is it?
So we have a public relations specialist for the district who monitors those comments. Unfortunately, you know, in the middle of the night, if somebody puts something up, we don't have 24-hour surveillance. So that becomes a problem when you allow open comments on a website that you're hosting. So I'm not sure, there must be some controls on it where you might be able to turn comments off after a certain hour outside of work hours, or just move to the thumbs up emojis. That would be an RJ question. I know some districts don't do comments on the Facebook if it's their district hosted, due to the fact that you just can't provide that 24-hour surveillance. But when we are notified, we immediately contact our PR person and have that removed. And she is very responsive. I mean, she removed a comment the other, it was reported to me at 11 at night. We had it down by 5 in the morning, so I think it was around 5. So, you know, she was able to get up and get that done immediately when she woke up. So, unfortunately, we probably should have an ongoing discussion about it. If that is what we want to remain, if we want to keep that open, then we probably should look at some controls in terms of when people are not working, how do we monitor that?
So that goes to my wondering of the purpose of the social platforms. Is it a medium to communicate with community members, or is it just for disseminating information? If it's disseminating information, are you seeking comment? I wonder if there needs to be clarity about what the expectation, and if it's just for dissemination, is it just appropriate to do thumbs up or thumbs down? Or if you're using another platform or vehicle to address a certain issue or get feedback, then that's a different conversation. I think there needs to be clarity about those differences.
Based on what I've been putting up, it's to celebrate student successes and to, you know, when we're traveling around the district, going and visiting buildings, just to give a sneak peek at all the great things our students are doing. Tonight, we'll have our bowling students, that won the championship. We'll be putting them up on the website just to give a little congratulations and get that, not only support internally, but support externally in our community, and give them an opportunity to really celebrate children. And that's the way I see it. I don't know if the district had conversations when they initiated it for other purposes. Dr. DeBarry might know the answer to that.
I think that was the way the system was initially set up, and certainly it's been a conversation throughout many communications committee meetings over the last few years, but it's certainly something that can be revisited moving forward. We do have some other platforms that we're bringing on with Parent Squares, one of our board members mentioned. We do occasionally get two-way communication from families. They reach out with questions in the messenger portion of Facebook in order to have questions answered, which I think there's a way to still do that without having comments, but we can have Sarah look into that. And certainly, in the past we've reached out and asked legal for their recommendation as well, and that's something that I think we should take into consideration. I think moving forward, it may be best not to allow for any type of comment if we have other ways of communicating with our public. If it's truly for the purpose of celebrating the great things we do and getting information out to families.
Thank you. So definitely some future conversations about it.
Denise, thanks for bringing it up and everybody for sharing it. But can also bring it back to the communications committee. I don't know when our next meeting is, I don't know off the top of my head, but I would certainly bring that back to the communications committee. I know it has been addressed in the past, and so yes, it needs to be revisited. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything else for board roundtable?
I do. In our last session, we started a conversation regarding the potential request of an RFP for legal representation. And I know we've gotten a lot of really great feedback about partners and from NISBA about how to move forward. So I'd like to bring into the space a continued conversation about a potential RFP. Originally, I had recommended or suggested an RFP specifically for the board, and based on feedback from thought partners and NISBA, they advised against that. So I'm opening to the space, since we have not in some time called or requested an RFP to replace our legal representation for both the board and the district. I'm opening the space to get feedback about the potential of doing that, solely based on the fact that it hasn't been done. I think in feedback from Matt Yeager and from Jeff Murray, who have been on the board for well over 10 years, it hasn't been done in some time. So I bring that into space and get some feedback from all of you, and I'd like for consideration to consider an RFP for the replacement of our legal representation with other legal representation.
I think, as we discussed before, it's good practice to do those things, so I'm all for getting information from other companies that are willing to assist, and then we can look at all that information and decide how we move forward.
I'm in agreement, especially since it was advised or indicated from both Matt and Jeff, who've been here for a number of years, that it hadn't been done since they were on. I think it's just a good practice, whether it's for this issue or content area, that we stay up to date. Things are obviously changing and moving and advancing, so just to make sure that we have the top notch of everything that we need for our district. I think it's just a good practice to get into a routine of putting those out there. So I'm in agreement with that.
And I know our legal, our NISBA representative that we spoke with advised us, maybe we didn't need to. And I think looking back at I was looking at the 3 law firms that we have approved, that we did approve in July. There's places there that we can look for legal representation. I think there's 3 different law firms that do different things.
Sam, thank you so much, and Tanya and Shelley. I'd like to make a motion to enter an executive session just because we are talking about a corporation. So I'd like to make a motion to discuss employment history of particular people or a corporation. Can I have a second?
Second.
Shelley, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now we are, passes 6-0.
Recording stopped.